shocking truth about planes. Pilots sometimes fall asleep. Boredom at work is one of the most prolific issues that can plague some employees, but a plane cockpit isn't exactly the ideal place to catch some shut-eye. A survey was conducted by the European Cockpit Association in 2012. It involved 6,000 pilots being assessed for a fatigue barometer. Although pilots are permitted to catch some sleep while flying, at least one pilot must be awake at all times. The results were so extensive that the ESA described it as the most common, dangerous and underreported phenomenon in Europe. Until COVID-19 arrived, that is, although the underreported aspect doesn't exactly transfer. There is no safest seat, every plane crash is unique, and the safest seat is impossible to calculate until the wreck actually occurs. The most advantageous position will be dependent on the type of accident. It varies if the jet succumbs to a nosedive, rolls or land on water. In 2012, a group of researchers used an uncrewed Boeing 747 replete with crash dummies and crashed it in an attempted emergency landing into the Mexican desert. The front of the plane was found to fare the most poorly. The cockpit was mangled, some seats were flung hundreds of feet, and because of the sheer destruction, live passengers would have likely been seriously injured or killed. They found that the middle seats near the rear of the plane had the lowest fatality rates, at 28%. This is in comparison to a rate of 44% in aisle seats in the middle of the plane. Ultimately, one's lifetime chance of being in a plane crash is 1 in 1,800, in comparison to 1 in 112 in a car, so these statistics may just be clutching at straws. That plastic-wrapped blanket isn't new. An inquiry by the Wall Street Journal's unit of investigative journalists found that a majority of these polyester fleeces are washed merely once each 5 to 30 days. On top of this, they are reused between washes for a slew of individual passengers. One lucky passenger will be fortunate enough to receive the blanket on the magical day that it is cleansed, but each thereafter will be subjected to increasing bouts of nastiness. Most people regard cellophane-wrapped blankets as being clean, but lab testing of sealed blankets has shown yeast, mold and other bacteria. What's worse, some airlines are charging their passengers for blankets. Take this advice, and bring your own blanket. You have 90 seconds to evacuate. Although pathogens are indeed disgusting, they are incomparably less likely to kill you than in a flame plane. Not to spread utter panic, but the Federal Aviation Administration obligates that a plane can be evacuated in 1 minute and 30 seconds. The reason, this is the time it takes for fire to engulf and spread through an aircraft cabin. To maximize your chances, sitting within 5 rows of an exit is the most strategical option. Otherwise, that can be left to your imagination. Your oxygen mask works for 12 to 20 minutes, that's right. Those precious oxygen masks, although not as cherished as COVID-19 face masks, only buy you between 12 and 20 minutes of breathing. Fortunately, this is usually a significant enough duration for your pilot to guide the plane to an altitude at which the supplementary oxygen isn't necessary. The alleged oxygen does not actually start out as this, but is instead stored as a cocktail of chemicals and converted to breathable gas. If you dare to step onto a plane without wearing a hazmat suit ever again,